We live already?
Yeah, of course, get me a mark. You have a mark, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can blow this?
Con.
Which one you want to do? Long or short?
It doesn't matter. Good, pretty good with both.
And Madiam Wapanya Yerushalayim, stand and face Jerusalem. And Mashiach's Palal. Lord's Prayer, Matthew 6, verse 9. Abanawa. Shabashimayam. Kadash. Haya. Shamka. Yahweh. Malakwata. Taba'a. Raktazaka. Haya. Aisha. Ba'arataza. Kawa. Haya. Bashimayam. Tanlanawa. Kul. Yawam. Basalaknawa. Kawaknawa. Kasalaknawa. Kabawaknawa. Wala'a. Tabaya Anawa. Banasaya 1. Abal, Hawashai Nawa, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, Wahatapa Ara, Nawalamya, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Yahushai,
the water, Aman. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 9. After this manner, therefore, pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Bahashem Hamashiach Yahushai, the water them yad Aman.
Shabi. You see it. Shabbat Shalom Yasharana. God praise the Most High by Shemash Gavashai, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That the Most High for another Shabbat day, if they can come together in holy convocation as per the covenant that they made with our forefathers. God. We are the Light of Zion, located down in South Florida, 2937 West Broward Boulevard, Fort Lauderdale, Broward County. I'm Elder Bishop Lapalal to my left.
Shalom. Captain Aliyah.
God.
So used to saying officer.
Alright. Coming from the Most High, so on to officer.
Yeah.
Officer today, tomorrow your captain.
God.
Yeah, we're going to continue today in the book of 2 Kings, chapter 20 rather. 2 Kings chapter 20 verse 1. Before that, we're going to go to Colossians 3, verse 17.
Okay. This is the book of Colossians, chapter 3 and verse 17. And whatsoever ye do, in word or deed, do all in the name of the Mashiach Yahushai, giving thanks to the Most High and the Father by him.
Right. Whatever you do in word or deed, whether it's words coming out of your mouth or action that you take, make sure they're consistent with the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, and the teaching of the Mashiach Yahushua. Not according to your own understanding. Let's go to 2 Kings chapter 20, verse 1.
2 Kings chapter 20 and verse 1. In those days was Hezekiah sick unto death, and the prophet Isaiah, the son of Amoz, came to him, and said unto him, Thus saith the Most High, set thy house in order, for thou shalt die and not live.
Right. In those days, the time of this is basically the time of the superpower of the Assyrians. The Assyrians just are taking the northern kingdom from their territory, from Samaria and the different cities of the northern kingdom, and brought them to different territories of the Syrian Empire. And they try to do that to the southern kingdom. Okay, but King Hezekiah was obedient to the Most High and kept the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Okay, so the Most High was able to hold off the onslaught or the invasion of the Assyrians. Okay, so we're talking about an Arab time, 722 BC is when the Assyrians brought the northern kingdom to their different territories of the Assyrian Empire. So we were basically done about 700 or so BC in the Arab time. Read on.
Verse 2.
So King Hezekiah, King Hezekiah was very sick in his bed right now. Sick to the point that you would say he was terminally ill. So that the prophet Isaiah went to him and told him that the Most High said, set your house in order. You know what, get your hair, let them know, hey, I'm about to make the transition from the physical world to the spiritual world. So this person is going to be my successor. This person is going to take this role, and that so on and so on. This person is going to be responsible for this, and this person is going to get such an inheritance. Basically, he get his will, as we know today. He was getting his will. He's going to will his worldly possession or responsibilities to various people. That's what Isaiah was telling him, because the Most High said he's going to die and not live. Read on.
Verse 2. Then he turned his face to the wall and prayed unto the Most High, saying, I beseech thee.
He turned himself to the wall. You know what? When we have issues, man, what do we do? Turn to the wall, which is what? The east, the Jerusalem. Read on. I prayed unto the Most High, saying, you know what?
I beseech thee, O Lord, remember me. Remember now how I have walked before thee in truth and with a perfect heart, and have done that which is good in thy sight. And Hezekiah wept sore. And it came to pass, after Isaiah was gone out in the middle court, that the word of the Most High came to him, saying, turn again and tell Hezekiah, the captain of my people, thus saith the Most High, the power of David, thy father. I have heard thy prayer. I have seen thy tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up on the house of the Most High.
See that, so Hezekiah is a man who permanently believed in the Most High. He knew that the Most High was the one in control of person's life, whether you live or you die. And he knew how he was terminally ill. Isaiah told him, the prophet Isaiah told him what was going to happen. But hey, he beseeched the Most High, prayed unto the Most High, and reminded the Most High that, hey, I'm a commandment keeper. I walk in righteousness. I walk before you. Keep your commandments all my life. And was very repentant. When I go to the Most High, with a sincere heart, with a contrite heart, in sincerity, the Most High hears a prayer. And that's what the Most High acknowledged, King Hezekiah's prayer. Before Isaiah was even left the premises, he was across the building or something. Before he left the premises, the Most High said to Isaiah, what did he say? I read on verse 6.
Verse 6. And I will...
turn again and tell... he said, turn again and tell Hezekiah that I heard his prayer. And I've heard his prayer, and I've seen his tears. Behold, I will heal thee. On the third day thou shalt go up unto the house of the Most High. King Hezekiah was about to be make a transition about to see death, but he prayed earnestly to the Most High. The Most High heard his prayer and told the prophet Isaiah that, hey, I'm gonna heal him. Tell him I'm gonna heal him. Okay, read on.
Verse 6. And I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for my own sake, and for my servant David's sake.
Right, so the Most High said, not only will you not die, King Hezekiah, I'm going to add 15 years unto your life. And not only will you add 15 years to your life, I'm going to defend this city against the Assyrians. For my name's sake and for King David's sake. That's how much respect the Most High had for King David. Get me 1 Samuel 2 and 6. It's the Most High determines, man, when we live and when we die. How long we live for when we die.
Come on.
1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 6.
This is the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 6. The Most High killeth and maketh alive. He bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up. Continue.
Any more?
About rich and poor.
No, that's it. Yeah. Read it again. The Most High killeth and maketh alive, and bring it down to the grave and bring it up. Read it again, bro.
1 Samuel, chapter 2 and verse 6. The Most High killeth and maketh alive, and bringeth down to the grave and bringeth up.
Right, the Most High killeth and maketh alive. We have seen various examples of, where people who actually died. Their spirit left their body. And different prophets that the Most High used, who prayed earnestly to the Most High. And the Most High restored those people from death back to life. We've seen examples of that in the scriptures. Okay, get me also Isaiah 45, verse 7.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 45 and verse 7. I form the light and I create darkness.
The Most High does that. He forms the light and creates darkness. Read on.
I make peace and create evil. I, the Most High, do all these things.
Right, so because growing up in the church, we were taught that everything evil comes from Satan.
Mm-hmm.
Everything evil comes from the devil. The Most High only creates what's good. If you have that mindset, it's like you're diminishing the Most High's power.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying that Satan has authority to do this and such. But there's nothing that Satan can do that doesn't seek permission from the Most High to do. Anything that Satan does, he has to get permission from the Most High to do that. Let's get Job. Let's see what happened to Job. Job chapter 1.
Okay.
Verse 6.
Verse 6?
Yeah.
Job chapter 1 and verse 6. Now there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves before the Most High, and Satan came also among them. And the Most High said unto Satan, Whence comest thou?
See that? And Satan, there was a day when the sons of the Most High came to present themselves to the Most High, and Satan came also among them. Who are the sons of the Most High? Angels. To present themselves to the Most High. Understand? And they all report to the Most High. And Satan came also among them. Why was Satan there among the sons of the Most High? Because you got to report to the Most High also. You just read it as Isaiah 45, right? Most High created the light and darkness, good and evil. Understand? So the Most High is in control of all the righteous and the wicked angels. What you got? Oh. Read on. Read on.
Oh, Salat, I'm sorry. Verse 7. And the Most High said unto Satan, whence comest thou?
The Most High said, where you ever been? Where you coming from? Read on.
Then Satan answered the Most High and said, from going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it.
See that? So from that time on, from the time of Job, as a matter of fact, from the very beginning, you see that Satan is always around here.
Mm-hmm.
From coming from what? From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. So Satan is always going to and fro in the earth. His angels walking up and down in it. He himself walking up and down in it. But you're not going to see some guy with a red suit on a pitch on a fork. You know what I'm saying? He can disguise himself as a human being, as anybody.
Right.
So Satan was walking up and down through the earth. Read on.
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And the Most High said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job?
Then why did the Most High ask Satan that? And the Most High said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job? What? Consider him for what? To test him, to bring some evil upon him. Yeah. That's kind of like a rhetorical question. And the Most High said, my servant Job. And the Most High, because the fact that the Most High said he's my servant, Satan knew that, hey, he's a servant. That means he's protected. You gotta read on. You see what you see that Satan realized that. Read on. So read from the top again. Verse 8.
Mm-hmm. And the Most High said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth?
There is none like him in the earth. Why is there none like him in the earth? I read on. Go back to let me see what verse.
The first one.
You read verse 1.
Job chapter 1 and verse 1. Mm-hmm. There was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job. And that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Most High and eschewed evil.
That's why there was none like him in the earth. He was perfect and upright. Can a man be perfect? Yes. The Most High said Job was perfect. Mm-hmm. So who are we to dispute that? What does it mean that he's perfect? The keeper of commandments, exactly. And whenever keeper of commandments, there may be instances where you may fail and break the commandment. But as long as you acknowledge that you broke the commandment and repent for it and go back to the Most High and ask for forgiveness, and your slate is still clean. The Most High wipe your slate. And even today, get Timothy 3:16. Be ye perfect. Even today, if we hold fast on our belief in the Mashiach Yahushua and keep the commandments to the best of our ability, we are perfect. People misunderstand what the word perfect means, but it means to be perfect. We're not perfect of our own accord. We are perfect because what? Of our belief in the Most High. Got it?
Con, you want 2 Timothy 3:16?
3:16, yeah.
Okay, Con. 2 Timothy chapter 3 and verse 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High.
All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High, not from man's so-called intuition or inborn concept or opinion, but inspiration from the Most High. The Spirit of the Most High reveals that to you. Reveals that to you, certain things to you. Read on.
And is profitable for doctrine.
It's profitable. Meaning whatever is beneficial to you for doctrine. You know?
For reproof.
For doctrine meaning that that's something a lifestyle that you adopt and adhere to. And you teach. You know, for a proof. What's the proof? For correction, when I see something wrong, you bring on the scripture the Most High as proof, as evidence that such things are wrong, such actions are wrong, and you should do otherwise. You know,
for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
In righteousness, read on.
That the man of the Most High may be perfect.
That the man of the Most High may be perfect. So, the scriptures of the Most High make us perfect. Because the scriptures of the Most High what? Teach us to walk correctly, and to teach correctly, and to live righteously. Understand? So people are maybe confuse perfection with being with expertise. You know what I'm saying? You're perfect with the Most High once you follow the scriptures and believe the Mashiach Yahusha. And it's not the same as being an expert at something. Go back to Job.
Job, come. I'm gonna start at 1 or go back down to 8.
Go back to 8. I just went to verse 1 to understand.
Okay.
All right, go back to 8.
Verse 8. And the Most High said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man.
Perfect, upright man, right?
One that feareth the Most High and escheweth evil.
Right.
Escheweth evil. Then Satan answered the Most High and said, Doeth Job fear the Most High for naught?
See, so the Most High asked Satan, have you considered my servant Job? One that feared the Most High and eschewed evil? And Satan answered back, sarcastically. Then Satan answered the Most High and said, does Job serve thee for naught? You got a reason for serving. You got a reason for serving him, because you know when to serve you. And we should take note of this too, because Satan knows that even Satan himself knows that there's a reward or a benefit or there's profit in serving the Most High. Does Job serve you for naught? Hold on, get me Romans 3. What profit is there in circumcision?
Much in every way.
Why is it profit in circumcision? Romans 3, verse 1.
The book of Romans, chapter 3 and verse 1. What advantage then have the Jew?
What advantage then have the Jews? What does that mean? What does it mean to have an advantage? You have the upper hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
You got the leverage.
You have leverage.
You're over
the Jews, the Hebrew Israelites. We have that over the other nations. Read on. But we don't realize that. Read on.
Or what profit is there of circumcision?
What profit is there of circumcision? Job knew that there was profit in keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Even Satan knew that. And Esau knows that too. That's why Esau goes out of the way to have us break his laws, break the Most High's laws rather. Whether our student, deliberately or inadvertently. But that's why he turned the whole system upside down. That's I was not keeping the. That's why we're going around going about our daily business. We aren't clean because our system is sort of designed that way. The food we eat, certain things we're not supposed to eat are in the food without even our knowledge. All those things and they force us to try to work in the Shabbat. All those things to keep us away from the Most High. And they have all these holidays that they entice our people to keep instead of keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. All those are ways that Esau, institute in society to have us follow to keep us away from the Most High. So what? So we don't get the blessing and the profit of being obedient to the Most High and keeping His commandments. Read.
Verse 10. Hast not thou made an hedge about him and about his house?
Let's go back to Romans.
Oh, Romans. I'm sorry. I went way back to Job. We in 3 and
3 and 1.
Okay, slop. Oh, you want me to read 2?
Yeah, right. Yeah, read on.
Verse 2.
Again, I want to get to the oracles. Right.
Much every way, chiefly because that unto them were committed the oracles of the Most High.
See that? Much every way. So the Jews have an advantage over the other nations in just about everything. In much every ways. But mainly because what? Unto us were committed the oracles. What's the oracles?
The word of the Most High.
Right. Which is what? Which is the Bible. The Lord's statutes and commandments of the Most High. Chiefly unto us were committed the oracles. That's the advantage that we have. Because with that advantage are what? The commandments are there. So we keep the commandments. And the commandments what? Brother would give us a protection.
You will be on top of every nation.
Yes, but yeah. And keeping the commandments and it teaches us to what? To fear the Most High and eschew evil. And in doing that, fearing the Most High and eschewing evil, that's profitable to us. Even Satan knows it. That's why Satan going about, man, various ways trying to bring about confusion and this discombobulation in our communities, in our nation of Hebrew Israelites. So that protection and advantage is no longer there. Read, is there more? Right, because get Amos also, Amos 3 and 1. What does the Most High mean by you want to know Israel? Amos 3 and 1.
This is the book of Amos, chapter 3 and verse 1. Hear this word that Most High has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I brought up from the land of Egypt, saying.
Against them. Meaning what? That's like an indictment against them. Like a blame, an accusation. A blame is being directed to the Israelites against all the tribes, the whole family that they brought up from the house, from the land of Egypt. Read on.
Saying, you only have I known of all the families of the earth.
What does it mean that? What does the Most High mean by that? You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Obviously, the Most High knows everybody on the earth. But what does it mean? Because only unto us was committed the oracles of the Most High.
Also, pretty much in that sentence, the word is only.
Right.
You only.
Right.
That nobody else.
Right, exactly. Just like, because only unto us, the Hebrew Israelites, were the oracles of the Most High committed. The Bible was only given to us, the Hebrew Israelites. So all the scriptures are irrefutable evidence that the Most High chose Israel over all the other nations. And this Bible was only given to us. Understand what? Because we fell from being a sovereign state and got kicked out into other nations and become a nation in exile, and Esau then got hold of this Bible, and everything just got turned upside down. Now we don't know our nationality. Now we're looking to them as if they're the Hebrew Israelites and the Jews. I go back to
Kings.
Go back to Kings.
We're at
Verse 10.
10.
What was it?
No, not 10.
Yet.
I haven't read 9. I think we're at 7.
Read 7.
Con. 2 Kings chapter.
Read 6 again. I don't want to read 6 again.
Con. 2 Kings chapter 20 and verse 6. And I will add unto thy days 15 years, and I will deliver thee and this city out of the hand of the king of Assyria. And I will defend this city for my own sake and for my servant David's sake.
Right, so the Most High said he was going to spare King Hezekiah's life and add 15 more years to his life. Read on.
And Isaiah said, take a lump of figs. And they took and laid it on the boil, and he recovered.
So see, the Moses take a lump of figs. That's like the scripture says what herbs for the healing of man. Exactly. So that's what the fig was for. It was a medicine. So whatever illness you have, the Most High has some kind of a remedy out there that our people need to be aware of, which can be used to eat whatever sickness that we have. Read on.
Verse 8. And Hezekiah said unto Isaiah, what shall be the sign that the Most High will heal me, and that I shall go up into the house of the Most High the third day?
See that? That's Israel, man. This is a man who will keep the Most High, keep the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. The man who, feared the Most High, who was in a constant communication with the prophet. But now he's looking for a sign. Get me 1 Corinthians 1:22. Why didn't you just take the prophet's word for it that the Most High was going to heal him? Yeah, like a belief, like a faith. 1 Corinthians 1:22.
1 Corinthians chapter 1 and verse 22. For the Jews require a sign.
That's the Jews, Hebrew Israelites, we're the ones that are the oracles of the Most High are committed to, but see, we require a sign. All the writings are there, all the prophecies are there. We saw, we're the Most High's witness, but we see the one a sign. Read on.
And the Greeks seek after wisdom.
Right, other people seek after wisdom, but we want a sign for everything. We want proof. When in actual, that's just us being stubborn. Because we are the closest nation to the Most High. And the Most High should perform abundant miracles in our sight. But still, we want a sign from the Most High to, as a proof of anything the Most High says. Read on.
Verse 23. But we...
Go back to first, 2 Kings.
Okay. 2 Kings chapter 8. And Hezekiah said unto Isaiah, what shall be the sign that the Most High will heal me, and that I shall go up into the house of the Most High the third day? And Isaiah said, this sign shalt thou have of the Most High, that the Most High will do the thing that he hath spoken. Shall the shadow go forward 10 degrees or back 10 degrees? Forward 10 degrees or back 10 degrees.
So that's your shadow. Like when I've been able to stand around like on a hot day, you can see a shadow. Yeah. So the movement of the shadow depends on what time of the day. You can go with north or south, moving different directions. Sometimes your shadow is in front of you, sometimes it's behind you.
I'm real pretty much they used to say that if you stay in the sun and the shadow is below your feet, it is 12 p.m.
Right. So, exactly. Yeah. I remember that in Jamaica too. We always use the sun as some kind of measurement of the time. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If it's behind you, it's a certain time ahead of you. Yeah. I guess the sun. I guess your shadow revolves around you, just like the clock. Yeah. Read on.
Con. Verse 10. And Hezekiah answered, it is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but the shadow return backward. 2 Kings chapter 20 and verse 10. And Hezekiah answered, it is a light thing for the shadow to go down 10 degrees. Nay, but let the shadow return backward 10 degrees.
Right, so your shadow basically travels in one direction. Just like your clock. Your clock only travels clockwise. The clock doesn't travel. the hand in the clock, it doesn't travel counterclockwise. Understand? So if you were to say, okay, when it's 5 o'clock now, okay, when the long hand or the minute hand reach 5, which is 6, then it's 5:30, but something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But your shadow is only going in one direction. You can't go the opposite direction. But the Most High is going to have that his shadow go back in a different direction even when time progresses, which is almost obviously impossible under normal circumstances. So that's a sign that as Isaiah was going to show them as proof that the Most High says he's going to heal you and you're going to go up into the Most High's house in 3 days. Read on.
Verse 11. And Isaiah the prophet cried unto the Most High, and he brought the shadow 10 degrees backward, by which it had gone down in the dial of Ahaz.
Read on.
At that time, Berodach, Baladan, the son of Baladan, king of Babylon, sent letters and present unto Hezekiah, for he had heard that Hezekiah had been sick.
Right, so the king of Babylon sent his messengers or servants to express, sympathy for Hezekiah because they heard that he was sick. Read on.
Verse 13. And Hezekiah hearkened unto them, and showed them all the things, all the house of the precious things, and the silver and the gold, and the spices and the precious ointment, and all the house of his armor, and all that was found in his treasures. There was nothing in his house, nor in all his domination that Hezekiah.
All his dominion.
Oh, nor in all his dominion that Hezekiah shewed them not.
Look at that. Now you open up his house, shoot his Babylonians, all the showing off. Look at my golden this, my golden that, man. My diamond this, my diamond that. Look at my golden scepter. Look at my throne. It's overlaid the seed of Lebanon, overlaid with fine gold of Euphrates. Look at that. Look at my utensils. And he was just bragging to these guys, man. The Babylon was like, ooh, they were so impressed. Saying that in his mind, he said, yeah, we gotta have this, we gotta come back.
He wouldn't be showing like that if he was still in his deathbed, though.
He wouldn't be showing if he was still in his
Yeah,
deathbed.
if he was
Sick,
yeah,
he wasn't
sick,
healed.
he wouldn't be showing his house like that.
Yeah, read on.
Verse
14.
Then came Isaiah the prophet unto King Hezekiah, and said unto him, What said these men, and from whence came they unto thee? And Hezekiah said, They are come from a far country, even from Babylon.
So Isaiah said, of course Isaiah already knew who these men were.
Mm-hmm.
But he wanted Hezekiah to tell him himself. Say, what did these men say? Where did they come from? What do they want? Oh, they come all the way from Babylon. Oh, go ahead.
You know, one thing I see with this is that you see how Isaiah has free access to the king.
Okay.
The same way Nathan had access to David.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much everybody. But now we can see that's a good of government that we have to apply. The prophet has to have access to the leader.
Okay. Right. Because the Most High doesn't speak to a prophet to the king. That the prophet is like the liaison between the Most High and the king. Understand? There was always the church and the state was always one. Understand that the church was always in alliance with the state. In every even when the king was being wicked, they still have at least a wicked prophet, a prophet who tell them what they want to hear. But that was the way it was always set up. That there was always prophet advisors, counselors who would advise the king. such and such things. Read on. So Isaiah asked him, what do you show them? What do you want? And Hezekiah said, I showed us about everything.
Mm-hmm.
Read on.
Verse 15. And he said, what have they seen in thy house? And Hezekiah answered, all the things that are in my own house have they seen. There is nothing among my treasures that I have not showed them. And Isaiah said unto Hezekiah, hear the word of the Most High.
So Isaiah was probably shaking his head.
Right, man.
I can't believe it did that. I can't believe it did that. These guys here, and just because they come to show to express sympathy for you, that doesn't mean they regard you as a friend. Understand? Because once you see you have something that's beneficial to them, plus you're on a deathbed, and you're about to make a transition, and because normally when there's also a transition of government from one ruler to the next, is always usually like a type of weakness. It's like right now, this in America, the presidency just got transferred from Trump to Biden, and you're hearing rumors that all these different countries were supposedly enemies of America, thinking about, hey, we're gonna test them and we're gonna do this and do that, talking tough. Oh, we're gonna build up our arsenal of nuclear weapons. We're gonna start traveling on the China Sea with our fleet, naval fleet and all that, just to see what kind of reaction we're gonna get. So there's always you're always supposed to be vulnerable during the time of changing of shooting of guards. So you can imagine that these guys, the Babylonians, was, you know what, probably a good time, in the near future to test Hezekiah, because they have a lot of gold and precious jewelries and all up there that we use on here in Babylon.
In the art of war, Sun Tzu says pretty much try to don't show off.
Right.
And this is pretty much what he was doing is nonsense, but I would say a man who doesn't have any expertise in war. How come that you are showing another country what you have? It makes no sense.
Doesn't make any sense. Right. that was a sign of a man who should know better. I don't know. Maybe maybe it was a moment of weakness due to his illness. I read on.
Verse 16. And Isaiah said unto Hezekiah, hear the word of the Most High. Behold, the days come that all that is in thine house, and that which thy fathers have laid up in store unto this day, shall be carried into Babylon. Nothing shall be left, saith the Most High. And of thy sons that shall issue from thee, which thou shalt beget, shall they take away, and they shall be eunuchs in the palace of the king of Babylon. Then said Hezekiah unto Isaiah, good is the word of the Most High which thou hast spoken. And he said, is it not good if peace and truth be in my days?
Hold on now. No, Hezekiah, if a man, who been doing righteousness, living righteously all his days in front of the Most High, now it's like this illness got him he's not thinking very straight or very wise and straightforward at this point. It's going to say. As the prophet Isaiah told him that everything that the Babylonians saw in your house and in the temple is going to be carried away to Babylon.
Right. And
even your children going to be carried away to Babylon and become eunuchs in the king's house.
Yeah.
And in the palace of the king. And Hezekiah replied, and he didn't even lament.
Mm-hmm.
Then said Hezekiah unto Isaiah, good is the word of the Most High which thou hast spoken. I mean, you asked for length of your life, but now Isaiah is telling what's going to happen to you, even your children, and the temple. But you're saying, and he said, Is it not good if peace and truth be in my days? So at this point, he was only concerned about himself at this point. It is not good. You see, it's okay with me as long as there's no doesn't go down in my time. That's basically what he was saying at this point in time. I read on.
Verse 20. And the rest of the acts of Hezekiah and all his might, and how he made a pool and a conduit and brought water in the city, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Hezekiah slept with his fathers, and Manasseh his son reigned in his stead.
All right, so that concludes chapter 20. Let's go to chapter 21 now. We're going to finish in chapter 21. And then brothers going to get ready for camp to do the street teaching. All right, chapter 21.
Second King.
With King Hezekiah, I guess he lived out as 15 years, and Most High promised him. Did some great things for the city. He made a conduit. He made a pool. You could consider the pool as like a reservoir, and a conduit. What's a conduit? A conduit is like a transportation system. That all things get transported from one location to the next. It's like you consider that's like an irrigation system. Like the pipelines from the so-called pool to distribute water through the city to irrigate the farms and provide water for the homes and so on and so forth. So I guess he must have done a great job of that. That he had to be chronicled and I make mention of with reference to his accomplishment. Okay, chapter 21. He died after 15 years and was now succeeded by his son Manasseh. Read on.
2 Kings chapter 21. Manasseh was 12 years old when he began to reign, and reigned 55 years in Jerusalem.
See, that's why the kings had to have a prophet. They had to have prophets to advise them. They had to have counselors. This guy was only 12 years old. Understand? Right. 12 years old, how much wisdom and knowledge you have that you could even stand up against your enemies who are skilled at war and experienced in politics and governance and all that. You have to have advisors, men of the Most High, to advise you what the Most High wants you to do. Read on.
And his mother's name was Hephzibah. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, after the abominations of the heathen, whom the Most High cast out before the children of Israel. For he built up again the high places which Hezekiah his father had destroyed. And he reared up altars of Baal, and made a grove, as did Ahab king of Israel, and worshiped all the hosts of heaven, and served them. And he built altars in the house of the Most High, of which the Most High said, in Jerusalem will I put my name.
So this guy, he didn't walk in the footsteps of his father, of Hezekiah, who feared the Most High, kept the Most High's commandments. This guy followed the ways of the heathens, man. I don't think it was because he was a young guy. His father didn't live long enough to teach him and see him grow up as a young man and learn the Most High's commandments. But he didn't follow in the father's footsteps. He kept the ways of the heathens instead. Read on.
Verse 5. And he built altars for all the house of heaven in the two courts of the house of the Most High. And he made his sons pass through the fire.
This guy sacrifices children, man. He built altars to the idols and sacrifices his own children. Read on.
And observed times and used enchantments.
This guy into witchcraft and all that. All manner of evil this guy was into. Read.
And used enchantments and dealt with familiar spirits and wizards. And he wrought much wickedness in the sight of the Most High to provoke him to anger. And he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house, of which the Most High said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever.
Right. So you set up a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house. Get me Deuteronomy 4:14. What the Most High said about graven images.
So these guys, they never learn. They never learn. Because in Deuteronomy 32 verse 7, that says, remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations.
Right.
Ask thy fathers, and they will tell you. If you knew about the Georges, these guys, somehow, they always find a way to put us into wickedness.
We got it.
Con.
4:14. But the Most High knew what was going to happen anyway, because the Most High told him what's going to happen to his son. They were going to carry them to Babylon and build up as eunuchs in the king's palace, the Babylonians' palace. Deuteronomy 4:14.
Deuteronomy chapter 4 and verse 14. And the Most High commanded me at that time to teach you statutes and judgments, that ye might do them in the land whether ye go over to possess it. Take ye therefore good heed unto yourselves, for ye saw no manner of similitude on that day, that the Most High has spoken unto you in Horeb.
What do you mean? No manner of similitude.
Horeb.
Nothing similar. Nothing in resemblance to. Read on.
Out of the midst of the fire, lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you a graven image.
So the Most High, when the Most High was speaking to the Israelites, they didn't see any image. Understand anywhere that they could advise, they could say, okay, that's what the Most High looks like. That's the appearance of the Most High. That's what the angels look like. Read on.
Lest ye corrupt yourselves and make you an graven image, the similitude of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged fowl that flieth in the air, the likeness of anything that creepeth on the ground, the likeness of any fish that is in the waters beneath the earth. And lest thou lift up thy eyes unto heaven, and when thou seest the sun and the moon and the stars, even all the host of heaven, shouldest be driven to worship them.
Right, so the Most High said, when I was praying to you, when you were praying to me, Moses was a man then. When the Most High was communicating with us, we didn't see in a similitude or resemblance or images of anything, whether man or woman, animals, a fish of the sea, or the sun, moon, or stars. So don't get confused and try to make any of those images, thinking that that's what the Most High looks like, and fall and start worshiping those images. Now go back to 2 Kings. But strangely enough, that's what Manasseh did. He set up a graven image of the grove that had made in the house, of which the Most High said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have told. Read verse 7 again.
Verse 7. And he set a graven image of the grove that he had made in the house, of which the Most High had said to David and to Solomon his son, in this house and in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever.
Right. And in Jerusalem, which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel, will I put my name forever. So the Most High said when he chose Jerusalem, out of all the tribe of Israel, that's the tribe of Judah. That's what basically he chose about all the tribe of all the 12 tribes. Give me Psalms 87. Because the Rastafarians are very confused about this. When you read Psalms 87
Okay.
Psalms 87, verse 2.
Verse 2. Psalms chapter 87 and verse 2. The Most High loveth the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob.
Right. See, what exactly this means is that what? Of all the dwellings of Jacob, meaning what? Of all the dwellings, are the locations of the different tribes, the Most High prefer what? Zion, which is where Judah was. When the Rastafarians read this, that he's saying that they think that it says the Lord loveth the gates of Zion, which is Ethiopia, more than all the dwellings of Jacob. That's what that's what the twist is around, you can't tell them otherwise. That this is not talking about Ethiopia. When they link this up with the so-called New Jerusalem, we New Jerusalem, not knowing that the New Jerusalem and the Old Jerusalem is the same Jerusalem, just that it's rebuilt and renewed. The Most I love at the gates of Zion, which is the habitation of Judah, more than all the dwellings of Jacob, more than all the dwellings of the other tribes. That's all that is saying. Let's go back to
2 Kings.
2 Kings.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
What do you think of it? Go to Psalm 78, verse 68 to see something.
God. Exactly. Psalm 78, verse 68.
This is the book of
Start from over that, 67.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 78 and verse 67. Moreover, he refused the tabernacle of Joseph.
Said, moreover, the Most High refused the tabernacle of dwelling place of Joseph, which is Ephraim and Manasseh. Read.
And chose not the tribe of Ephraim.
And chose not the tribe of Ephraim. He did not choose Samaria. He did not choose the southern northern kingdom. Read.
But chose the tribe of Judah.
But chose the tribe of Judah. Read.
The Mount Zion which he loved.
But chose the tribe of Judah, the Mount Zion which he loved. That's what it's talking about. So when they say that the Mount Zion is the tribe of Judah, that's habitation, dwelling place of Judah that the Most High chose of all the 12 tribes' location.
Also, remember, Most High said in Deuteronomy chapter in Genesis 49, Judah is the head.
Fine.
So if we say that the Most High loves Judah more than, because it has a preference, I would say a preference.
Fine.
I wouldn't mind, because when we got here from the Caribbeans, the Edomites, they put us above Judah.
Fine.
Just to put some animosity between us and Judah. But when you look at it, pretty much, the Most High pretty much put Judah as the head to lead the army. In all the wars, oftentimes, Judah is always ready.
Fine.
To fight, pretty much. In fact, during the two census, they had more lings than everybody. They had more lings and more men.
Fine. Exactly. Go back to 2 Kings.
2 Kings 8. 2 Kings chapter 21 and verse 8. Neither will I make the feet of Israel move any more out of the land which I gave their fathers, only if they will observe to do according to all that I have commanded them, and according to all the law that my servant Moses commanded them.
So the Most High said, well, neither will let your feet be removed anymore, just as long as but you got to keep my commandments. All that is stipulated on us keeping. All that is conditional upon us keeping the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. Read.
Verse 9. But they hearken not, and Manasseh subdued them to do more evil than did.
Read it again.
Verse 9. But they hearken not, and Manasseh seduced them to do more evil than did the nations whom the Most High destroyed before the children of Israel.
So we were seduced to do evil by our own king, more than the other nations were encouraging us to do evil. So we became more wicked than the other nations. Man. Read on.
Verse 10. And the Most High spake by his servants, the prophets, saying, because Manasseh king of Judah have done these abominations, and have done wickedly above all, and have done wickedly above all that the Amorites did, which were before him, and have made Judah also to sin with idols. Therefore, thus saith the Most High, power of Israel, behold.
That, thus saith the Most High, power of Israel. The Most High let you know, I'm your power. I'm the power of Israel. Even when the Most High tell us how much we're more wicked than the other nations, it's still acknowledging that I'm still your power. That's why I'm punishing you like this. Because I'm your power. I'm the one you're supposed to be turning to. I'm the one you're supposed to be worshiping. Not the idols that you made of the gods of the other nations. Read.
Which were before him, and have made Judah also to sin with idols. Therefore, thus saith the Most High, power of Israel, behold, I am bringing such evil upon Jerusalem and Judah, that whosoever heareth of it, both his ears shall tingle.
I'm going to bring such evil upon Jerusalem because of this, the sins of Manasseh, and how he seduced you into doing more wickedly, and then the Amorites, the nation before you, that was here before you. That when people hear what I'm going to, the things I'm going to have you I've done to you, their ears are going to tingle with disbelief. I can't believe the Most High do this to his people. Read on.
Verse 13. And I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria, and the plummet of the house of Ahab, and I will wipe Jerusalem as a man wipeth a dish, wiping it and turning it upside down.
Right. So Moses says, I will stretch over Jerusalem the line of Samaria. So the spirit, all those wicked spirits that abominable spirits that was in Samaria, and the destruction that came upon Samaria because of their abomination, I'm going to have the same thing done to the southern kingdom of Judah. It's going to be most I use the analogy of wiping a plate. When they turn the plate upside down, it's like everything is going to fall from the plate. That's also just going to be an utter destruction of Judah. Read on. That's the southern kingdom which consists of Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. Read on.
Verse 14. And I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance, and deliver them into the hand of their enemies, and they shall become a prey and a spoil to all their enemies.
So I will forsake the remnant of mine inheritance. So we are the Most High inheritance, man. And deliver them into the hand of their enemies. The Most High is going to forsake us, and I was delivered into the hand of our enemies. That's what he said. Read on.
15. Because they have done that which is evil in my sight, and have provoked me to anger, since the day of their fathers came forth out of Egypt, even unto this day. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another.
So this guy was evil. This guy was a violent man. I guess was probably putting people to death for I guess not paying tribute to him or whatever. But he's a bit probably not
worshiping them idols.
Because Hezekiah was a righteous king. So the people followed his ways. So I guess he forces people to follow. Manasseh forces people to turn from their righteousness and follow his wickedness to violence. Read.
Verse 17. Verse 16. Moreover, Manasseh shed innocent blood very much, till he had filled Jerusalem from one end to another, beside his sin wherewith he made Judah to sin, in doing that which was evil in the sight of the Most High. Now the rest of the acts of Manasseh, and all that he did, and his sin that he sinned, are they not written in the book of Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And Manasseh slept with his fathers, and was buried in the garden of his own house, in the garden of Uzzah, and Amon, his son, reigned in his stead. Amon was 22 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 2 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Meshulemeth, the daughter of Haruz of Jotbah.
Right, so Manasseh was succeeded by his son. Son name was Ammon, who reigned at started reigning at age 22. He reigned for 2 years. I wonder why. What happened that you only reigned for 2 years? Verse 20. Read on.
Verse 20. And he did that which was evil in the sight of the Most High, as his father Manasseh did. And he walked in all the way that his father walked in, and served the idols that his father served, and worshipped them.
So this guy followed in the footsteps of his father. Read on.
And he forsook the Most High, power of his fathers, and walked not in the way of the Most High. And the servants of Ammon conspired against him, and slew the king in his own house.
So that's what happened. His servants slew him. He only reigned for 2 years, and after 2 years, his servants conspired against him and slew him. Read on.
Verse 24. And the people of the land slew all them that had conspired against King Ammon. And the people of the land made Josiah, his son, king in his stead. Now the rest of the acts of Ammon, which he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And he was buried in his sepulchre in the garden of Uzzah, and Josiah his son reigned in his stead.
Right, so Ammon reigned on only for 2 years and was killed by his servants, who were then killed by the people of the land. Okay, and then his son Josiah reigned in his stead. So we're gonna conclude today's lesson right there, and the Most High is willing. We're gonna wrap up. Maybe we can wrap up. Maybe not. Let's see if we can wrap up the Book of Kings. Most High willing, next class. Chapter 22, 23, 24, 25. That's 3 chapters. 2, 3, 4 chapters. So the Most High willing, we'll just wrap up the 4 chapters of the Book of Kings, and we can probably summarize it in the following chapter. I'm adding Wapanya, Yerushalayim, son of Jerusalem. Brothers can get ready for camp, edify the Most High's people. Amadi Wapanya Yerushalayim, son of Jerusalem. Psalms 133. Shayar. Ama Idwa. Ladawad. Hana. Ma. Tawab. Wama. Na'ayam. Shabbat. Akyam. Gam. Yakad. Hashaman. Atawab. Ara'ash. Yarad. Ayl. Azakwan. Aharan. Shayarad. Paya. Madawak Yawa. Katal. Karamwan. Shayarad. Araria. Tazawan, Kaya, Sham, Tazawa, Yahweh, Arabakad, Kayawan, Ayalam, Bahasham, Hamashiach, Yahushai, the water, Aman. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 133,
Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments, as the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion. For there the Most High commanded the blessings, even life forevermore. Bahashem Hamashiach Yahawashai, the water, Thamyad, Aman.
God.
Yeah.
Shalom. The water Yasharana for logging in. Bahashem Mashkavshat. Oh, okay. The Most High will not forget, tomorrow we continue the Shabbat service with Chief Minister Solomon at 12 noon.